Football season is here. We welcome you to the first of 45 or 46 or who knows, 48 football previews here on this first day of camp with the Lima Central Catholic Thunderbirds. Andy Lynch, Mark Kuntz, joined by Khalil Lazenby, the senior linebacker, and the quarterback Colin Stawley down at the end. This is all brought to you by our friends, the U.S. Plastic Store. We appreciate their sponsorship. Khalil, how's it feel to be outside? No pads yet, but into football gear once again.
It feels really nice again. It feels real good to be out here, to be able to play again and have another great season with my teammates, and hopefully have a great season this year.
Colin, how's the summer gone for the T-Birds so far?
It's been going really good. We have a couple guys hurt, but everyone's starting to get back. We're starting to get in shape, and offense is really coming along, and new defensive coordinator, Coach Paldy, our defense is really coming along also.
Speaking of defense, Darius West is going to Kentucky to play football next year. He's going to miss pretty much the first half of this season with a broken leg. How does that impact what you guys are trying to do, not having Darius the first half of the season, and Lee Stewart also not completely healthy to be in the year?
Yeah, Darius is a big part of our defense. Also, Lee is too, and it's going to be hard to play without them, but we have guys that can step up and fill in, and when they get back, we'll be even better than we are now, and we have depth. So if someone needs a breather from defense, someone will go in, and we have people at every position that can play just as well as about anybody else.
Colin, take us through your comfort level after having the full season under your belt at quarterback last year. How are you feeling going into this year's camp?
I'm feeling very confident. I'm still working on mechanics-wise. Axel Bowers, my old quarterback coach, couldn't come out this year. So I'm just trying to remember things that he taught me, still getting better every day and trying to. And with help from the guys on the team and them having my back, it really helps knowing that if I make a mistake here or there, they're going to be behind me to pick me up.
Khalil, as has been mentioned, Scott Palty, the new defensive coordinator, he's had a long history working with Coach Cooper up at Columbus Grove. But what does Palty bring to the defense that's maybe a little bit different than what we've seen the last couple of years out of the T-Birds?
Well, he brings out the leadership in the young guys and especially the seniors to make us be more leaders to our whole team and to lead our team, and then to actually be able to play good and know where every position is and what's the duties that they have to be in play. So he's just a great coach and overall a great guy.
Are the schemes quite a bit different under Coach Palty?
We have some similar schemes, but we have our defense has changed up a lot, and then we play in a lot more zone this year, so it should be a great season.
Colin, you're losing quite a few of all-conference linemen from that offensive line. Seniors have graduated. Is it a little bit of a patchwork offensive line at this point, or are you confident that some of these youngsters are going to step up and fill those holes?
I'm very confident in the guys I have in front of me. Ryan Rhodes, a sophomore, stepping in at center this year, really worked hard in the weight room in the offseason. He's gotten a lot better, and he's getting better every day at camp, I can tell. And same with our offensive line. Every day Coach Leidy's teaching them. They go have their own meeting, and every day they're getting better. I was just down there, and Coop was saying how much better our line has gotten since the beginning of camp last week. And if we keep going at this rate, we might be one of the best lines in the area.
Now, keeping in mind this is a family program, what's your best Coach Leidy story?
I don't know. I think there's a lot. Every time a plane flies by or a helicopter, he always thinks it's one of the other coaches scouting us out. Then he gets on his cell phone, acts like he's calling somebody and telling them to get out of here or something like that.
Speaking about the relationship with your center, how quickly does that come? Obviously, it's a very important one, snapping you the ball.
Ryan he's just a fun kid to be around, and I didn't really talk to him much last year because I mostly interacted with the seniors just because they were my role models last year and the leaders of the team. But Ryan has really stepped up, and I don't know, just kind of taking him under my wing, and I know he's gonna do good things this season, and our relationship is getting better every day, like I said, and he's just a great kid. It's fun to be around, and I'm going to enjoy this season having him as my main guy on the line.
Khalil Lazenby, Colin Stawley, a couple of the senior leaders on this LCC T-Bird team. We're going to take a timeout. When we come back, we'll have more from the LCC camp on this U.S. Plastic Store High School football preview show.
Second quarter of our U.S. Plastic Store football preview. Jerry Cooper, the head football coach, joins us. Coach, good to be back out here. August is here. It's football season.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. We're starting August 1st because our school starts so early. We start on Wednesday the 14th, so that allows us to start a few days early. Everyone else is starting on Monday the 5th, but we get a chance to start today.
How much is that nice for you to have a couple extra days of planning and putting the schemes in?
Yeah, it's nice now, but then 2 weeks from now, we'll be in school for half the day or for
Gotcha.
a full day while everybody else is doing 2 a day. So it evens out, and that's exactly why the state does that.
Gotcha.
A little bit of a season of change for LCC. Obviously, the first year back being an independent. Scheduling-wise, it doesn't really change a whole lot. You're still playing 7 of the NWC foes. Does that change your mindset going into the season at all, knowing there's not a conference championship to be played for?
No, to be honest with you, I don't think a conference championship was our kids' number one goal. You know, hey, making the playoffs and doing what we're supposed to do in the playoffs, that's always been the goal. And see if we can have an undefeated regular season. You know, that was the goal the last couple of years. Now, we accomplished that, but we didn't do as well in the playoffs. And I think that's the mindset of this football team is, hey, how can we do all the little things better that were the difference in those couple playoff games the last couple of years?
Another one of those little things that changed the schedule. Instead of opening against St. John's, that's week 2. Week 1 now Bath, one of the former schools that you taught at and coached at, and just now it's a new matchup taking on the Wildcats in week 1.
Well, it'll be exciting. You know, first off, we've been scrimmaging those guys the last couple of years, so our kids will now move that from a scrimmage to a game. And it's nice not to open with Delphi St. John's. You know, that's a really good program who's well coached, and that's a big game. And Bath will be a big game as well. You know, that's a local game. There should be a great crowd. That game's going to be played on a Saturday night, and that was part of the deal when us and Delphus and Elida and Bath got together. One of the games would be on Friday and one of them would be on Saturday. So we'll kick off the football season with 2 great games here in the city and see what we can get done and see if our T-Birds can get ready to play.
We're broadcasting both those games for you on WOSN, and we'll also have the Week 2 matchup. The St. John's game moved back to Week 2, so really, you know, back-to-back weeks of local teams that have some good power to them.
Well, and that's the goal for our kids. Hey, we want to get the season started off as well as we can, and what better way to prepare yourself for the rest of the season than to play 2 really good opponents out of the gate and get ready for the rest of the season.
As you mentioned, coming off an undefeated regular season, lost a tough game to Liberty Benton in the second round of the playoffs in overtime, lost quite a few players off that team to graduation. What are your thoughts on who's going to have to replace some of those all-conference type players?
Well, we had a really good football team and last year, and you know, there's quite a few of those kids gone. The offensive line is where we probably lost the most of those guys, but we got some kids working really hard. And hey, we think Brad Stolley and Jack Huffman are doing a great job at guards, and Ryan Rhodes has jumped in at center and has done a really good job. And Damari Allen, the big 6'5", 280-pound tackle, is doing a really nice job. So I think we're solidifying the front. And if those guys will play well, the quarterback's back, and Khalito Lazenby has a lot of experience at running back, and then there's a good core of those skilled guys with Michael Rogers and Cam White and Dimitri Floyd and Nick Tafflinger. There's some good athletes to play those wideout spots. So I feel like we can really progress offensively if we can get that up front shored up.
How much do you enjoy seeing those young guys come along in practice? They take one big step. How does that feel as a coach?
It's amazing to watch those guys grow. You know, 2 years ago, a lot of those guys were 5'8" and 5'9", 140-pound freshmen, and now they're 6 foot and 6'1" and 160-pound sophomores or juniors, and it's nice to see those guys progress. And that's really the key to being a good program is that every year you bring in that next core and they're ready to play varsity football, and the program goes on regardless of the fact that the names are different.
OHSAA adding a 7th division to the playoffs this year. LCC moves from a Division 5 team to Division 6. Does that change anything for you guys, though?
To be honest with you, it's very little change because the smallest schools, you know, the 28 teams in each region of the smallest schools, they only dropped about 8 or 10 teams out of that smallest division up to the next division, and we stayed in that next to smallest division, so it's really not that big a change. But the thing that's different is for the very big schools, you know, half the big schools will make the playoffs, and that's where the real impact on that state playoff changes adding that 7th division is.
Coach, the track team, a great spring. You were at some of the meets watching a lot of your football guys do well. How much does that confidence help carry over to football?
Well, I think it helps a lot. You know, anytime you can compete at the highest level, whether it be basketball or track or baseball or football, you know, that carries over into those other sports. And our kids have the mindset that they can compete at the highest level. You know, it wasn't that long ago. In 2010, we won a state basketball title. And then we were runner-up in baseball in 2012. And then this past spring, we were runner-up in track. And then our football guys have been to the Final Four and been in the playoffs 7 of the 8 years. So our kids are starting to get the mentality or the mindset that they can compete at the highest level, and now it comes into putting in the work and doing all the little things that make the difference when you get to those big games.
Among those state state winners at the track meet was Darius West. He's out with a broken leg. As a coach, what do you do to try and challenge him and keep him engaged while he's going through rehab?
Well, that's a big task because, hey, it's hard. He's had his leg in a cast all the way up to basically up to his hip, and he just got that into a smaller cast. And Darius will be back, and, we're hoping, 3 or 4 weeks into the season he'll be back because he did that way back in early June. It was June 20th. So, they told him, 10 to 12, 14 weeks. So he'll be back at some point, and that's what we got to impress upon him and all of our players. It's not like he's lost for the season. He's going to miss some of the preseason, some of the early season games, but he'll be back. And Darius has a bright football future. He's already verbally committed to Kentucky, and after talking to them, they're going to honor their commitment to him. And hey, he's got a lot to look forward to. He's got a bright football future. We got to get him back and get him as healthy as soon as we can.
What are the top 3 things you're looking for in scrimmages out of your team? What things do you want to see happen or perhaps improve upon?
Well, I think every week the biggest thing is getting better. And from the first scrimmage to the second, and second scrimmage to the third, and third to the first game, we look for improvement. And then the next thing we look for, we try to figure out how we can get more physical in each one of those games. Okay. And then obviously the skill level and the individual commitment to technique has to get better. And if they do those things, if they get more physical with every game, really focus on improving and work on those skill improvement levels where our techniques and all the things we're doing improve a little bit, then I think we have the opportunity to be a really good football team.
All right, Jerry Cooper, LCC head coach, thank you for your time. We'll take one more break. When we come back, more from LCC on this U.S. Plastic Store High School Football Preview Show.
Final round with LCC on our U.S. Plastic Store Pigskin Preview. The first team out of the gate of our 45 or so football previews. We're joined by Cory Stewart and Drew Contini. Cory, let's start with you. Practice, it's okay. It's kind of good to be back out here. At what point do you really start enjoying it again? Are you looking forward to that first scrimmage?
Yeah, the scrimmages, we've had a couple 7-on-7s. They've been really fun, but I'm really excited for the week where we get the scrimmage Elida and all that and actually get full pads on and just go full out. Sure. Can't wait.
Drew, speaking of the 7-on-7s, is that something you guys look forward to doing during the summer, a chance to come together and at least throw the ball around a little bit?
Yeah, we definitely like competing. It's pretty fun. We don't get to hit or anything, but it's a lot of fun getting out there and having competition and just being out there together and starting to learn and get focused up for the season.
Drew, how would you characterize this senior class? A loose bunch, a fun bunch, a serious bunch? What would you say about these seniors?
We're very serious when it comes down to it, but if we like to have fun after the games, after we win and stuff. We really like to have fun. Like we're all pretty close. We like to do stuff after the games, and we all talk and sit with each other during lunch. And we're a tight bunch.
Cory, how much motivation are you guys trying to take from last year's overtime loss in the second round of the playoffs?
A lot of motivation. We bring it up all the time when we run our plays. It's just we have to get past that, and we want to get past that and make it on at least win state.
Cory, what's it mean to open with Bath this year? It's a usual scrimmage, so you know them pretty well. Pretty cool to open with them?
It should be a good game. We also scrimmage with them, so, they probably know what we do. But if we run our plays, execute, we should be successful.
What do you think the major strengths of this team's going to be this year, Drew?
I think we're going to be able to run the ball. I think we can pound the ball on teams. And then I think our run really sets up our pass. But I'd definitely say our run will be our strength. And then when we get the run going, we can set it up and get some passes going.
Cory, tell us about the defense with Coach Pulte. A little different?
Yeah, it's a little different, but it's basically the same. We have same lineman down, same back, but we're having a lot more. It's not as much movement around. It's just straight go defense and then go get the quarterback and then DBs play back, and that's it.
Drew, what are you guys most looking forward to this season?
We want to go to state and win it. That's what I'm looking forward to. I think we're all looking forward to that. We know it's not guaranteed. We know we have to work hard, but that's definitely our goal.
A couple years ago, the state final for it. You remember that? You remember being
that was
part of that?
Yeah, that was my freshman year, and that was fun. Getting to practice on Thanksgiving. That's what Coach Leidy says. He says at practice on Thanksgiving was the funnest practice he's ever had.
LCC Thunderbirds trying to make pig skin to go along with the turkey skin on Thanksgiving. That's going to wrap it up today for our U.S. Plastic Store High School Football Preview. For Andy Lynch, I'm Mark Kuntz. Thanks to all of our guests on WOSN.